Hello, and welcome to Iron GM. Today, we'll be taking one of my ideas and making it into a reality. A never-before-seen show on TPK Roleplay, a giant game mastering tournament. The motivation for spending my time and others in creating this show was to encounter new and original one-shots, which could be truly called artistic creations. To realize my dream, I secretly started looking for top GMs of various styles of game running. These GMs might have what it takes to become one of the Iron GMs, the invincible creators of game running skill. Here today, in this arena, GMs will compete to gain the favor of the chat and the judges in hopes of taking home the title of Iron GM. Both of our GMs have 1 hour to tackle the theme ingredient of the day and the added elements that will be sprinkled in along the way. Using all their senses, skills, and creativity, they will prepare a one-shot that has never been played before. Here on Iron GM, every battle, reputations are on the line, as are the hopes of each contestant to make it through the tournament to the finale and to be declared the Iron GM. What inspirations does today bring, and how will these GMs fight back? The heat will be on. I'm Purple Phil, your host, and I have with me my two co-hosts that will be joining me in commenting and judging these one-shots. I have with me first the GM of Oathsworn and Master of Mythology himself, Turk Accented. Good to have you with us, Turk. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great as long as I keep my voice in a lower registry. Because if I start talking normally, there's where we've been at for the last week.
Yeah.
I don't know what caused it. It's not COVID, and that's the best news I've gotten.
Well, I hope you're feeling good and up to talking because we will have a lot to discuss, and I don't want to strain your voice too much.
No, don't worry. I am here for the turn and the burn. If our contestants are going to be pushing themselves to the limits, so will I.
Bringing in the heat already, just from the judges' side. To introduce our other judge, we have the GM of Madness Calls It Forth and an avid storyteller, ProperNerdy. Good to have you with us, Proper. How are you doing today?
It's me. Hi, I'm ProperNerdy. I'm a TPK staff member, roleplayer, game master, and sometimes designer. I'm feeling okay. 10 points to Gryffindor, whoever can tell me what Turk sounds like, because it's on the tip of my tongue and I can't remember what it is. But it should be a good time.
All right. Then with that, we have our contestants. First off, this contestant is willing to go further beyond the tides than most. But don't count her out just yet, because she might just slam you against the tides. It is our magnificent Ashen Rabbit. Ash, how are you doing today? How are you feeling about this challenge?
I mean, I'm great now that I heard that. This just made my ding dang day, dude.
Did you just make 2 puns about the 2 names of the same campaign?
They're different names of the campaign.
It is. They're 2 different campaigns.
They're 2 different campaigns.
This
This is what I do.
This is why he's in charge of this stream.
Ash, how are you feeling about the challenge, though? You got any plans going in? I know you've been practicing with our ongoing ones.
I have been, yeah. I've never written a one-shot before, or at least I could have said that a couple months ago prior to actually practicing. I've never really written homebrew stuff save for the campaign that I'm writing. It's in a completely set world, so I'm just pulling from stuff around there and things that I think are cool and just kind of throwing them together and seeing what the players do. So starting from literally nothing and then trying to mash that around in the brain until it turns into something comprehensible. It's a little challenging. I'm a little afraid, but it's gonna be okay.
I'm sure you'll do great, and I'm very excited to see what you have in store for us today. On to our second contestant. This contestant is so bright, you might get blinded by his neon city lights. Then again, he might just cast you into the violet sea. It is the one, the only, Tait Washburn. Tait, how are you doing today?
Hey, doing all right. You missed I can't blame you. You missed the one campaign that I'm running that Turk is in because it's not actually released yet. We're pre-recording all of it.
I don't know about secrets.
I know Foxy announces it basically every time that he says what we're doing, even though no one knows what it's about.
I did not realize you were. If that's what it is, I did not realize you were GMing that.
I'll strike you right to the core. Hearts.
Yeah. Yes. The
That
car.
certainly does sound like Foxy, though. Just being like, this is a thing that no one knows about.
I quite literally did not know that you were the GM of that. Otherwise, I definitely would have put that in there. I
Yep.
thought Foxy was.
Oh, it's also very much my style to be like, I have no idea how this game works. Let's run something on stream and/or recording. Let's do it.
Hell yeah. But yeah, how are you feeling? How are you feeling about this challenge?
Feeling like it's good to have a second shot at this. I'm really hoping I don't bite off more than I can chew, but in opposition to that, I blazed through all of Monster of the Week yesterday and this morning, and I'm very tempted to use that, a thing I've never done anything for.
Interesting. Do you have a game plan going in then, or do you thinking you're going to use that, or maybe it's an option in your back pocket, or?
Definitely an option, but no, I think that the game plan is try and really aim for a one shot this time.
Yeah, trim yourself in. Watch the clock. That is the true competition in this game, as always. All right. Well, with that, we have our contestants. So let me just do a quick overview of what this show, Iron GM, is all about. We have 8 magnificent GMs, 2 of which are here on the show today, and they're all competing in a giant tournament to win the title of Iron GM. We've had 3 matches already, which are the starting rounds. This is the last in the preliminary rounds, and after this, whoever wins will go to the semifinals, which will start up. We do, however, have a consolation round where everyone who doesn't make it in will join up into 2 teams and have a big team battle, which I'm very excited to see how that goes, seeing people create together. Other than that, how does this competition work, you might ask? Well, us judges here will be judging the one-shots created by these GMs based off of a couple of different principles. Firstly, exploration, social, combat, narrative, handouts, style, and the use of the special ingredients that we provide. How those are judged are all up to those, but we will have 10 points each to give out an award, and our points will be averaged and put together. There is an additional way that you can score points, which is a chat vote. After the one-shots have been made and read through to us and explained, chat will have a chance to vote for who they think wins. And the winner of the chat vote will get an additional 5 points, which has been very pivotal in tipping the balance of who wins in the last couple of shows. So your votes matter.
Get in
And
the comments.
with that, I think we're ready.
I mean, if they're getting in the comments, the show will have already been done. So
Oh, fair.
you can just blame us for getting the winner wrong. But
We'll get the winner wrong in the comments. We'll
The
have
comments
an
will
appeal.
know.
Yeah, so without further ado, I will introduce today's main ingredient. Rich, powerful, and in charge. These characters can have huge impacts on the world of our campaigns and how the players fit into it. Whether they're a good ruler who hires the party for some great quest, or a tyrant that agonizes our parties. One thing is for sure with these leaders. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. Today's
know.
secret ingredient is a monarch. So, in your game, you need to find a place to put a monarch in. And now, Turk's little filter all makes sense. So,
Did he know?
Was a cunning ruse.
contestants, are you ready?
I think
As I'll
so.
ever be.
All right then. So now, TPK, with an open heart and an empty table, I say unto you in the words of my uncle, the French phrase that calls these Iron GMs to battle. Allez au donjon! You may begin.
Good luck.
Ah, God, what a wonderfully versatile term we have here tonight. Obviously, the theme you've decided to go into with the explanation does tie into a lot of royalty, but going all the way from family Amphipodi to the Windsors, there's a lot of options for our creators tonight. I mean, There's Monarch butterflies. There's monarchs, a variety of roles and systems, not just political leaders, but also maybe simply referring to types of monsters, the kings of the jungle, kings of the savannah, the kings of the desert, so many wonderful options that I think hopefully we get to see a whole bunch of excellent stuff.
Turk, you're making me feel so unoriginal. Because I was going to be like, you know what? I want one of them to use Monarch butterflies. That'd be fun. And then Turk out here already ahead of me. Like, oh, come on.
I mean, one of these might be a
now I'm just going to be
viceroy.
quiet and make Turk say everything because he has the weird, deep, upsetting voice. And I can't. I have no original content, evidently.
No. I took a
You both thought of it by yourselves, so it's both original.
No, it's not. I'm sorry.
I
Came in here and ruined the plot.
I took a semester of bugs and insects that is it just got me really hooked on a bunch of really cool stuff, and the Monarch butterflies are just really a fascinating thing to go off of.
Okay, Purple, it may have not been a super deeply well thought out thing, but did you have any reason why you decided to go with Monarchs for this particular episode, or just because you're like, we haven't done this yet? And this might be a more interesting question. Why specifically the phrase Monarch?
I'll answer that one first, because the other one's a little bit harder. Why Monarch instead of maybe King or Queen is mainly I wanted King or Queen. I wasn't sure what I wanted. I wanted to leave it just vague enough. I had considered King for a long time, and then also Queen, but I was like, Monarch, it covers both, and it lets them play with other meanings as well. I had not even considered butterfly, I'm not gonna lie. I did consider that there are other ways that you could use it, but I did not think of the butterfly option.
I mean, now I just really want either one, there to be a non-binary Monarch, or two, for it to be an entire one-shot based on RuPaul's Drag Race, just so we can see some queens.
Yeah,
Either of those options are great.
That was definitely a thought that I had, is if someone wants to do a modern take on queens and just being yes queen all over. So I don't know.
I'm so excited for that now.
It'll be interesting to see whether our figures of power, if they go down that route, are the heroes or rather the motivators of the plot in a beneficial or negative way. Because obviously we also have plenty of evil kings and queens and things that need to be overthrown.
For sure.
We even have a few crazy kings if we want to go the Nero route.
Well, if you go Nero, we could certainly
an
talk about
emperor.
Caligula.
That's close enough to a monarch.
Oh, emperor is certainly a monarch, though. The Romans would of course say he's just the first citizen, but that's another thing. It's all the perception. If a single person holds power, it doesn't matter what you call them. I think they could fall into the category monarch quite easily.
I agree. The other option that I think would be interesting that hadn't been mentioned is putting the players in the role of Monarch, letting one of them be the king or queen of their own area, and having that play out as being part of the one shot of defend yourself from an attack or something like that. Could be quite an interesting option.
I do love a good series of political manipulations. I have plenty of systems that carry specifically to that. If we want to talk about the sword and the crown means equal power or just reign, a lot of that is trying to gamify what a Game of Thrones episode should feel like before the end of Game of Thrones became a thing and politics didn't matter. But I think giving players a lot of power and agency in how the kingdom is shaped is a fantastic way, not only to save yourself some world building, but also to give your players more buy-in. If they know how this land works and why these things are important, they're more likely to want to defend it from the existential threats you'll eventually impose onto it.
For sure. I think that is a great way to maybe play that in there, especially in a one-shot. You don't really have a lot of time to get into serious political intrigue a lot of times, so just kind of providing it to the players of what do you think your kingdom's like, and whatever they say just goes, because it's a one-shot. It doesn't have lasting effects, so you can literally just hand them the keys to the castle. Go ahead.
Or, better yet, it will have incredibly long-lasting effects. Amp up that drama, make that one-shot really matter for some larger thing. Because if you are like a down player for a night and your weekly session isn't going on, maybe you can all play conspirators taking down the king in a night. Royal Blood is another great scenario, even though that's mostly about stealing power from the Taros. But it's basically about you have one night, one chance when some being of supreme power is incredibly weak and vulnerable. Not incredibly weak, but even at incredibly weak, they're still very strong and protected. So you have to use your own powers and teamwork to get past them. And, you know, it's a fascinating system. And that, even a small little one-shot session like that, if you give the players just the tiniest crumb, like, okay, you're doing this, and then you can bring up the details later, I think that could make a whole campaign feel really fun and good synergy. Even if a player's missing, and they'll be the one confused, like what's going on, everyone else can be freaking out and explain to them like, oh my god, we overthrew this king a while ago and this government has completely gone over its head. We don't know how these people got in power, but apparently they were our friends.
We're slowly losing any sense of semblance to the English language from Turk. So I'm going to cut in to say that Tait was mentioning that he was really interested in Monster of the Week, which is a system that's new to him, but a personal favorite of mine. And unfortunately, I don't think Monarch fits it very well. I mean, you could definitely pick it, take the kind of more modern approach, as we said, with Yas Queen. We could take a... Why does this music keep cutting out? We could take a more modern approach with Yas Queen. We could definitely do something with, like, the King of New York or the Queen of New York. Those kinds of, like, modern vibes. Like, if we did City of Mist, you could definitely do something with that. Like we just, well, actually, this is not a spoiler because we just had this episode. But there's definitely like a lot of like King Arthur mythos that would just came out in City of Mist. So then you could actually use that as a starting point for creating a whole plot line based around riffs that are king or monarch themed. That would be a really great way to do this particular thing. Because there's a lot of mythical kings as well as real kings. I'm trying to think if there's other systems that would go really well with this vibe. I mean, D&D is obvious because it's all fantasy, medieval-esque vibes in the first place. But I always love kind of, other versions. So
there was a couple other options that I had kind of foreseen when I did this. Taking Monarch into the sense of just king. You can go with things like the T-Rex, as in Tyrannosaurus Rex, is the king of the dinosaurs, or King Kong, or something like that. And with that, we kind of have a similar option. It looks like over on Tait's side, he's already got some basic plot outlines, and it looks like perhaps the name of his, I'm not sure, it's at least the name of his king, the King of the Beasts. Looks like this is the way he's going. He has a little basic plot outline, which looks kind of interesting. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but looks like he's going to have a kind of a druid as maybe an antagonist, maybe, or maybe an ally. It looks kind of interesting. Kind of just, I'm still digging in, but he's got some work going on here.
I'm getting the Decision of Paris vibes, but with more political intrigue. Because we're deciding on a king of the animals, and you have to go through different areas, learn about the possible heirs, and see who the party's going to vibe with. I think it could be a wonderful little fill-in session from what I'm hearing thus far to kind of give it a new flavor to the natural world. From already, we're seeing some factions form on his side with the wolves, the panthers, and squirrels. And
Lady Chestnut.
Lady Chestnut, who wishes to employ druids to create plenty and make murder of thinking animals illegal. Don't know what that means, but
you know what is interesting is that we warned Tait, because last time he didn't just do like a one shot. He did like 19 different things that all could have been like reconsidered, and the GM could choose their own path. And
At the very least, he's moved down from 4 to 3.
I mean,
so.
yes, but this is the thing: is that I'm trying to figure out if this is just like throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks, or if this is again him going on this path of like, I want as many options as possible, and so it's not exactly a straightforward path.
He likes giving players choices, I think, and this is definitely a way to do that. It does kind of also seem like it's maybe a little, in a way, it might be kind of needed down to looks like there's 4 encounters, or at least 4 fight encounters. Maybe they don't have to be fights, but he has the wolves, the panthers, the squirrels, and then the druid basically is the 4 things, and you kind of just run through them. And I'm guessing, I mean, based off of what he's thinking, maybe it's not something that lasts very long, or it's a quick choice or something like that. I'm kind of interested. I really like having, at least even in a one-shot, I like having options to let the player basically completely change it and just say, no, I'm going to side with the wolves. That's it. Not worry about the other ones or something like that.
Super fun. And that's why I think it's more the choices he's going to give them. And he's setting a strong groundwork for himself later on. And I'm really excited about. But can we talk about Ashes for a second? Because it's a dating game potentially. And I'm already invested. Look, so if you check out her brainstorm notes right here, wonderful idea, making sure she has a clear idea of what the main ingredients are, what our 2 twists are. She's obviously played this at home. I think we're seeing that experience coming in. So we have 2 ideas right now. The Monarch's trying to establish a realm outside their original kingdom, a la Kingdom 2 Crowns, which if you have not played is a wonderfully simplistic game. It's about resource management and it's just really good, and it gets that itch for me. But the second one is about coming of age stories, and it's like trying to compete to win the hand of the crown prince and princess. It's like a dating game. It's like, all right, cool, like I'm down. And like obviously it's not going to be like a dating show kind of thing, but I think there's a lot of room for romance focused things as a system, planning dates for people, trying to like find ways to woo the princess, and how players can each try and like put on difficulties on each other as they go around the table 2 or 3 times to each try to set up a date and like maybe accumulate points, almost like a fiasco type situation, where except everyone's bouncing off the same NPC, and the other's gonna just toss in difficulties. I think it could be really fun. And we have some lovely art right now with the Prince and Princess Aurea. I am very excited. I think both of these are absolutely shaping up to be completely wonderful experiences. Oh, looks like we got some map action over on Tait's side, or at the very least, a big field of green. Very excited for a lot of Tait maps. He does do a great job of getting those made.
We're about a minute away from pulling our first GM in for a little conversation, so...
and I do have a question related to Ashes, actually.
Yeah?
Best dating scenario your character has ever been in a game, or you put your players through in a game?
How about you start, Turk?
You can't tell me neither of you have romanced someone through RPGs before. Come on.
So here's the thing, is that my one slutty character specifically didn't get past session 2 because we just stopped playing after that. So I never got a chance to really play him. I mean, the closest I got was I brought him back for the very first Murder on the Eberron Express. That was my Varys character, and he's just a little playboy, girl, boy, whatever it is. And other than that, I mean, I specifically played an asexual, aromantic player as Estelle, so like that didn't work. And then my character for the second Harper's, Nick, was polyamorous but already had a wife and a husband. So like, I haven't played a lot of romanceable PCs, mostly because that's like a big step, but one of these days.
Well, it's like, for me, it's been a combination of home games and obviously Harper's stuff and others. I just think it's really nice to Romance not only adds a really great payoff for stories later on, I think it also adds a series of fun challenges, as there's the emotional aspect to someone. Like the way I see it is, if I can get my players to be so invested, they start caring not only about their own characters, but their by other players' characters. Not just for like, oh no, your pretty thing you made, I'm gonna be sad. It's like, no, that's my person I'm interested in. I have like a personal connection. That's a win in my book. Also, yeah, in his divine name, isn't a great example. Thank you, Head. My character is flirting with anything that moved, and had a lot of fun there. Kind of just, really helped to add a different flavor onto the grim, dark realities of the world. In that, hey, we're all gonna die anyway. Might as well have some fun when we're doing it.
All right, we are
Well,
at the
on
time to
that
add
note-
Ash in, so I'm gonna message Ash. My answers, my tables generally haven't had that sort of experience, so I really, the answer is pretty much no for me. A lot of my home tables, people don't want that. So
well, if you ever have the chance, even if it's, as long as it's all approved and consensual and wonderful.
Hi.
Hello.
Speaking
Hi.
of romance, hello.
Hey,
Hi,
what's up?
Ash.
Hey.
How's it going?
It's going. Here, let me copy and paste more stuff over here for you guys to see. I'm working in OneNote, so if it looks like I'm not doing anything, I am doing stuff. I'm just in a different window.
Valid.
Well, we've seen a lot of work, so Turk is especially excited so far.
I love a good dating game.
Yay!
I'll be honest.
So I was about to say, are we going with idea 1 or idea 2?
Idea 2, so we can just nix the whole brainstorm thing. I'll just get rid of that.
Oh,
Entirely.
I did like the brainstorm doc. It was a lovely little way to keep yourself organized.
Hey, thanks.
But also, God, out of here. I'm a big sucker for romance things. I always have some kind of text-based romance game I'm playing through at one time or the other.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I was the hopeless romantic. But speaking of romance, tell us about your dating sim.
Well, hey, I, like Turk and many others out in the world, love a good dating sim.
But
I
can I
initially-
date Colonel Sanders?
If you want to, I can make that happen. I know that that's
Secret.
also a video game and it's very silly. So it originally stemmed from the first idea. If you guys have ever played the video game Kingdom 2 Crowns, you play as either one of a pair of monarchs that are trying to establish their ruling on different islands throughout like this kind of area, I suppose. And I was like, wait, there's two monarchs. Okay, what happens when there are two monarchs? Oh, they have to like maybe court each other. Hey, dating sim, let's do that. So it's gonna play in a way that players are gonna like create their characters with the intent that they're going to be competing for the hand of one of two siblings. There's Princess Elenil Oriah and Prince Radorin Oriah. It's been granted in the land that either of them are able to take the seat of the crown, which I know is not very typical. But in this kingdom, all bets are off. So they're also extremely competitive. So they wanted to host, instead of just like a typical ball of, yeah, let me pick this random suitor out of nowhere, have them compete to see who's going to be like the best fit for them and the kingdom. And the tasks so far are going to be kind of silly. The first one that I came up with is you got to retrieve the king's lost prize sheep. It's in a hedge maze. Go find it. But then they might also find like little hints and trinkets that will help them have a leg up in the competition. Like, oh, here's Prince Radorin's favorite book. Do you want to discuss this with him and like have a side conversation? Like, so if someone doesn't necessarily find the sheep, they can still find useful information. So I don't know. I'm kind of just spitballing here.
I'm really enjoying your final task, though.
Oh yeah, the dance off.
I think that's a good one.
That's all I have so far, and you know it feels pretty fleshed out. We can just send it to print right here. Just kidding.
So, question: if both NPCs are romanced, who gets the crown at the end? Will there be player versus player? Can there be player versus player? Can I kill someone at the dance in order to, as a final act of love for an NPC to put them on the throne?
Hey man, I play by the rule of cool. So if you want to do that and consent has been given prior to, and you want to just literally backstab another player so that you can win, sure, why not?
All right, good. Just want to make sure.
Sure.
All right. Well, we want to respect your time, and you have 5 more minutes to work before our next added element comes in. So with that, we'll leave you back to your work, and we'll call in Tait.
Cool. Thank you.
Good luck.
Looks like you've seen it.
Sorry, I put you guys at super low on my audio mixer.
Oh, you're all right.
All right, I'm here.
Cool. All right. So let's talk about this. The King of Beasts. Is that ongoing title so far? Or?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna run with it. I don't think if you have a lot of time, you can really second guess yourself. So, I like the idea of giving players a lot of choice. So we're gonna do a choose a monarch thing.
We were just discussing if you've. Are you worried at all that you've set yourself up to go into too much detail over all these choices, or?
Not this time. I've specifically been like, nope, there's no special bases. There is only 3 locations, so I don't have to do as much with that. It's really just what are the 3 main leaders and the animals following them. The exploration would almost be entirely on the kind of exploration around before you are ambushed, or if you decide to not help the druid who tells you can't go forward, it would be the exploration of trying not to get attacked by an angry druid.
Makes sense.
I just need to limit not just factions, but also the places you can go. I think that was my big problem, is I had to come up with 4 completely different bases with people and things and all that.
I'm liking your. What made you go with the choices of wolves, panthers, and then squirrels?
I kind of just decided, all right, what would be something that you wouldn't expect to be the king of the jungle? Bear's a little bit of an off choice. I might rename the panthers to something that's more like the location of this kind of forest. It could be like a lynx or some other kind of larger cat, mountain lion. And squirrels is just kind of like a funny extra choice of hey, you can choose this one if you want, if you have real chaotic players. They have an impractical plan, but that's fine.
I have a feeling a lot of people will be picking squirrels.
That's fine. And to sort of even it out, I also kind of separated on, I guess, the 3 methods that I build characters around is either hit real hard, stealthy and tactical, or just a bunch of magic. And yeah, squirrels are going to be magic as hell.
That's cool. I'm kind of excited to see where you go with it. I see you've been working on a map, more or less. Is that?
Yeah, this is sort of an overall map of the forest. I don't have the tools I would like to use, but I don't really want to spend the time to open up Photoshop and do this super well. If I had more than an hour, I would definitely do a whole map with real drawing tools. But I'm going to use this to make the maps for now.
One thing I do like is that it looks like this is sort of you have a quest elsewhere, so you're already partying together, and this could fill in basically anyone's journey sequence in a campaign, so it fit well with other things. Do you have a specific system in mind?
Yeah, I would probably do this with D&D. I think you could do it with Monster of the Week if you're set it in. I'd say someplace that has a lot of big open empty spaces and you're driving between towns, and that way the druid is less of a classic druid. I'm going to build this around D&D though, just because it was the idea that struck me, is a forest full of awakened animals, and that's a very D&D thing. I love looking at some spells and what are the world building consequences of that, and if it takes a stone agate and a bard, and that's it, to make a person out of an animal, there's going to be a lot of those walking around.
Fantastic point. Quick question. If you find yourself with enough time, will you think through the long-term consequences of each choice?
Yeah. I mean, I already have an inkling where, like, the bear, obviously, there's not really long-term consequences. Things keep going. The panther or the big cat, it's like, well, this becomes a much more dangerous forest. And then the last one is the predators are going to revolt eventually because they don't have anything to eat.
Mm-hmm. Yes. It's very good. Are you at all worried? There's going to be no political commentary at all, I'm sure.
Absolutely none. Not at all.
The Panthers potentially becoming the I can't believe the leopard's eating my face party. Let a leopard eat my face situation.
I was actually going to make them pretty earnest as far as the other animals are concerned. Like, and they're not going to really bandy about. It's like, look, we tolerate the druids because he kind of gets our deal. You four, if you enter this forest again, we will get you. There's not deception here. They're being honest.
Right.
I like it. But we are at time to give out the next element. So I'm going to call Ash in here, and we can reveal that.
I guess as a last note, I kind of didn't fill in a lot of the other details because I'm waiting for the other elements to be like, what are the twists
That's
to
fair.
this?
That's fair.
Strategy to go with.
I overplayed my hand the first
got
time.
That.
Added way too much stuff early on and then had to shoehorn in other things.
Right, one more try.
The pets were cute though the first time. I did like the pets. I just had the same problem of I made 4 places, so I had to make 4 pets the first time.
True. Okay, there we go.
Okay. Hey.
Right. Welcome back. All right, you guys have been going for about 20 minutes or so. So it is time for our added element. From paralysis to a long, slow death to a near undetectable instant death. This element can be slid across a blade or slipped into some wine, whether it's an odorless powder, a vial of green liquid, or fresh off the stringer of some great beast. Today's added element is a poison. You need to find a place to put the poison into your game. And with that, I will let you get back to your work. You'll have another 20 minutes, and we'll call you guys in for other interviews in that time.
Great, thank you.
And the time is continued. Good luck.
Nothing quite like a little bit of regicide in the morning. The amount of possibilities here with both of them. We have a complex, romance situation with Ash, and another complex political situation with Tait. I could see poison working into both their plans quite nicely, even if it's just an option in Ash's game to sabotage some players, make them miss a round or something by having them stuck in the privy for
Perhaps
a day.
it's one of the challenges to find the poison to save the. You got to do the food tasting for your potential king or queen or something like that.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. It could turn a very, very comfortable dating sim into something a lot more dark and sinister.
Oh no, I think it'd be the perfect twist to allow the possibility for players to poison each other's romantic options. Nothing will ever be the same at that table again, I promise.
Ways to ruin friendships by Turk.
Look, we could play diplomacy, I could kill the NPC you love, or we could just talk about politics till we find something we don't agree about. It's those my 3 top options right there.
I feel like I'm Chevy Chase at the National Lampoon's Vegas casino, and it's here. I'll just take half of your money, and we'll go unpack, and I'll slap you across the face, and call it a day.
That's it. That's all we need. No, but poison's really fun, And it's funny enough, as much as everyone's gone down the ruler reign, Monarch Butterfly certainly could have continued on in this path. These very poisonous insects.
Are they poisonous or venomous?
All right, well, I'm going to ask you this. Where would they inject you with venom?
I don't know. This is the question.
Exactly. That's why they're very poisonous. Hence why the Viceroy looks like a monarch, but is not.
I should never have questioned the bug.
I told you, I
scientist here.
took a semester of bug science. My textbook said bugs rule. I'm in there.
It's a bug boy.
I'm a bug boy.
It's that one guy in Pokemon with the net for no reason. That's a bug.
And all the Weedles.
The bug catcher. Yeah, my team of Weedles will take you down. my Weedle is top ranked.
Are you like Joey and his number one Ratat?
Fuck Joey. Joey's a hack. His Ratat is garbage and everyone knows it.
I mean, we could also spin this another way. We could say, okay, what about poison that isn't a physical substance? So we could like throw weird mushrooms in there, sure. But what about like poison that's like, what if metaphorical poisons? Where like, what if the I can't think of it. But like not assistant. I'm trying to think of for some reason all I can think about is the Aladdin, the evil chancellor dude from Aladdin.
Viceroy.
The Viceroy, or whatever you want to call it.
Jafar is his name, but he's a vizier.
But I don't know.
Yeah,
the kind of the assistant to the prince and the princess who might be putting poisons in the counselors. That makes a good idea. The royal
vizier.
Okay, now that you've said it 7 times, what if the royal vizier is putting poisonous thoughts into the minds of the prince or the princess that you are trying to woo, and they turn against you? That would be really a good idea for Ashes, because that's a way to use a poison that like isn't necessarily you kill your friend in the adventuring party. Also,
could be a great way to set up an NPC as a villain overall to beat. Which
exactly.
Further negates that PvP concept. Because at the end, someone's obviously going to want to be like, but I wanted to romance the princess too. Hopefully, by the time you.
To be fair, we have a certain set of statistics we are trying to judge on, and one of our things is combat, which Ashes doesn't really have thus far, as I'm aware. So it could definitely be something along those lines. If you like introduce a villainous character into this story, and you have something you can like fight for their honor or something.
What is seduction if not combat?
If you think seduction is combat, you need to go see a therapist.
No, it's called a kink. Don't you be shaming mine.
I'll shame your fighting kink all I want.
To look at the other side, what Tait has going on with poison so far, it looks like he's got something down there. It sounds like part of the reason that the druid needs the help is he may be suffering from poison in the air that might slowly be turning the players into animals themselves.
Oh,
sounds
wow.
Like a very interesting way to take this.
What a twist.
First off, thank you. Heck, the inherent eroticism of a sword fight only further proves my point. There's so many possibilities. Secondly, I love a good amount of some Cersei mythology here, coming in with that slow transformation to animals. Them having to decide, well, if we're going to be stuck here, if we're not going to be able to cure ourselves very quickly, we might as well choose a strong ruler. And I think that's going to be a great incentive for the players. I feel like we've been really aiming this a lot as to how Ash is going to work it in and the possibilities there. But yeah, Tait's got a lot of options. I mean, political candidate could be poisoned. The players have to resuscitate them, and all of a sudden they seem a lot more sympathetic. Well, what if it was planned?
It looks like, so I mean, he started off with originally the King of the Beasts had died, and the druid needs to find a new one. It looks like what he has written down so far is that the former king was killed with poison that turned them back into a a sub-intelligent animal that's not been awakened. And so your goal is to figure out who poisoned them and turn the king into the state. Might be part of the goal for his one shot now. It looks like it's been changed a little bit. Does look like he also changed the name of his faction there from the Panthers to the Stalkers. Yeah.
Fun name.
The thing I have a question about is, and I'll ask him this in a minute, but basically what he's decided is that, like, the poison seems to be twofold. So he has two different areas where poison can, like, enter the story. And we do like the poison in the air motif, but it's only if the players decide to fight the druid. And so he's, like, doubled up on poison by saying, okay, but if they don't, and there's also this, and, like, that feels a bit of a, like he doesn't quite understand. He doesn't quite know what he wants to do with the poison.
He might not have it fully decided yet.
Yeah.
I think it's more about giving the players choices. Oh my goodness, words. But he did mention that it's fully possible to say, hey, you're a crazy person in the road. Get the fuck out of the way. And just making sure that whatever path a player might take, they'll encounter all aspects of this challenge, which I think there's credit to be had there.
I'm just saying in a narrative style as a judge that basically, like, it feels like there's no concrete decision making happening with the poison, where it's kind of like, let's throw a little poison here, let's throw a little poison there, you know?
Well, it feels like he's just covering his bases and making sure.
In the fifth and sixth episode, and then the like final episode, I gotta crack down on good and bad story writing. I gotta be a judgy judge and stop giving everyone good points. We're just practicing for the future here.
I'm out here just saying that he's making sure whichever path the players take, because he's giving them an out right at the start. They can choose to participate or not. And if they choose to not participate, they get themselves a very interesting fight with increasing ramping circumstances. And if they choose to participate, they have some initial intrigue, and maybe they don't trust anybody. And so they're going to get into a situation where they got to not only vet the royal contestants, but also they have to vet which of these people might be a murderer. Because, hey, really nice people can do really shitty things. That's what power does, baby. It corrupts. Like being a judge on a small stream show. Go right to your head. I should know. I'm wearing a crown right now.
All the power.
That said, it does look like we have some maps down for Ash, as well as I think Tait has added a second map for a Fields of Battle. But it looks like Ash has a hedge maze set up, as well as a kind of like a long corridor, which looks like a ballroom of sorts.
A throne room and a ballroom. I know it very well. If you watch the Bards Refrain finale, you might remember it. There's been a number of varieties the artist who made this map has put on it. This one is a particularly great one, and I enjoyed a whole bunch. It really does put a lot of aspects on. If you were attending court, it puts the monarch in a position of power, and I'm very excited to see what they do with it. But if this is meant to be a initial starting place, if there's going to be a ball held under the spears of 4 outriding knights, it could be quite interesting. Either way, beautiful maps, absolutely gorgeous. And the hedge maze is perfect for shenanigans, whether it be The Shining or the Secret Garden. Lots of possibilities.
I don't know. I saw this hedge maze and immediately thought about if, perhaps the princess likes me with yellow stockings cross-gartered. We could definitely see a villain that way. I want a Malvolio in this dating sim. It sounds like a good time to me. This is a deep Shakespeare cut that no one gets, and it's totally fine.
You're thinking Yavolo from Othello?
No, I'm talking about Malvolio from 12th Night.
Sorry, Malvolio. Sorry. I thought you said, for some reason my brain went, oh, yes, of course, Iago. He's out there sabotage romance as well. But I have not seen 12th Night. But
let's go check out the other map that Tait's making right now.
Also, it looks like Ash has filled out a little bit more and has perchance a choice of where she's going to put the poison. It looks like there's going to be a dinner party as the second task, but it's going to turn into pick the cup without the poison in it.
I mean, that's definitely a valid choice.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting way to go with it. There's a little bit more written on that, but apparently the siblings might be a little bit competitive,
Ooh.
I mean,
hiding secret poison in the players' cups. So be interesting to see where that goes.
do you mean to tell me the poison's in the vessel with the pestle, the chalice in the palace is the brew that's true?
Exactly.
But I hear there's been a change that they broke the chalice in the palace, and they replaced it with a flag and a picture of a dragon.
You're too good at this. But yeah,
No.
let's,
How far are we from Tait?
we're about 2 minutes away. Are we calling in? Is that what you're asking?
Yep.
Yeah. What questions do we have? Do you think we have for Tait with what he's added in there with the poison? I know you're already mentioning. You're wondering if it's kind of doubling down on the 2. Is there any other thoughts we have of kind of where this one's gonna go?
So we are judging on exploration, social encounters, combat, narrative, handouts, and the use of the ingredients. I don't think I'm missing anything else. Oh, it's style.
Which is kind of just a personal
catch-all
for each judge.
I think he has a little bit of all of them, which is kind of ideal. Like, perhaps maybe like it's not as exploration heavy as some other one-shots could be, but like he certainly has ideas down. He's definitely using both the ingredients pretty well in a pretty story-forward approach. I don't know. I feel like the only thing that I could see getting stuck on is this is the kind of thing where, like, if you're at my table, like, you better fucking engage with the content that I'm giving you, because that's the whole reason we're here. But if, like, players, like, don't want to engage for some reason, then, like, I think he has a kind of workaround for that, but it's still something that's like, hey, do this thing because I told you to, and, like, I don't want to be rude about it, but, like, it feels like some players could look at that negatively and be like, why do I care about this? Nothing about this matters to me. I don't care about this forest. And so those players you don't want at your table, at least I don't want at my table, but like I can definitely see it being a problem, and I would like to hear what he thinks about like engagement with players of like, why is this important to your character? That kind of thing.
I mean, it sounds like we were talking about this before. It's going to be something that randomly happens on the road. And if your players aren't, if you have players at your table that aren't the type to see a strange cave in the woods with a dead body outside, don't go to investigate, you have to ask them seriously why they're an adventurer in the first place. Because that's kind of part of the job description. Go into places that are unexplored, or handle situations that are spur of the moment and strange. So, you know, I think the nature of the one shot, it shouldn't be too much worry about investment, but I would be interested to hear what he has to say about it.
We are at that time, so I am going to call him in and we can ask him that question. See if he gets the message. Does he? The intense focus on work is definitely a big part of this show. So we get him.
Hello.
There it is. Perfect. Welcome. Yeah, so it looks like you've added in the second ingredient in there. Would you like to tell us about it?
Yeah. Again, me doing maybe too much, creating this very simple plot of like, if they just decide, screw this druid and we don't care. Yeah, then the druid is going to be the one to poison you. And I'm imagining a sort of intermittent con save. I wouldn't want to do it too much to be annoying to the players, but basically every player is going to do a con save at some point. Probably once before they're attacked by the first group, once between the first and second, once between the second and third, or space that out. Maybe 2 at a time if there's a lot of players, depending on the size of the party. And yeah, the con save's going to be, I'd make it decent. Like a 13 to 15, depending on the leveling, if they're really higher. Because like, I wouldn't actually want to change their stats that much. It would be really more of a size and mechanics thing. I would still change it some, but like, I don't want to be too mean to the players. It is a one shot, it is not And then the idea at the end is this is a poison, but it is a curse. So if you need to continue these characters later, the town nearby is like, oh, we're kind of familiar with this, and there'll be someone who will charge you to like remove it. I think the more interesting twist is, yeah, someone poisoned the previous king, and he's not like dead. He's just like not a person anymore. So it's effectively the same thing.
I really like how you've worked in the options. Make sure that poison experience on the other side of it.
Again, I'm simplifying the options from last time in that there are two paths. One is extremely simple, and the other, who you choose is just who your allies are. Maybe if there's a third party helping you or not helping you. So it is a lot simpler than what I was doing before.
So tell me, is the choice to do the two different variations on poison just because of the need for choice, or is there some other... Did it just work out well with the story you've written so far?
Well, it is kind of the need for choice of, I don't want to ignore the fact that no matter what you put in front of the players, especially if this is a one-shot in between like an actual long campaign, some players are just going to say, we don't care about your problems, old druid man, and keep walking.
I did ask this before you joined. I was like, what are you doing to make sure that they are invested in this one-shot? We kind of in the judges' room were like, well, if why are they adventurers if they don't care about this? But also, I want to hear your answer to like, how do you get players involved?
Yeah, it has a lot to do with the players I'm in front of and the characters they've developed, but generally it's try and make at least the characters asking for help or the characters that have problems ones that are sympathetic.
Yeah.
Some people are just not going to care because that's just how it is. But so long as you have that relationship with the players at your table where you're like, look, we are here to play a game. I'm putting something in front of you, and I'm putting the effort to make this something your character would like to interact with. They should also, at the other end of that contract, be like, we'll try and interact with this on purpose. But, I have the two options of what if you don't care and what if you do. So
a minute left before get you back to your work. I just have a question of, so you got about 25 minutes left. How are you feeling on the time crunch?
I'm glad that I have maps. I'm a little worried I'm not going to find portraits because I am suddenly finding it is somewhat hard to find pictures of these various animals looking kind of regal. I could just use a regular picture of a bear, I guess, but bear with crown didn't really come up with anything.
Just use a clip art, it's fine.
It's an option. All right. Well, we're at that 5-minute discussion, so we'll let you get back to work, and you have 5 more minutes before we give you the final twist.
All right.
Thank you for sharing with us.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna call Asher.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm okay.
All right. So it looks like you have an interesting. You have a choice for how you've brought poison in. Would you like to tell us about it?
Yeah, sure. So, I thought it would be interesting to have it at like a dinner party kind of a thing. So after the initial hedge maze, the players would be given a chance to go back to their own quarters within the castle to get ready for this lavish dinner party, and would be told that they would each be granted a unique boon that can help them during the party. But little do they know, they're all getting the same little vial of poison with instructions as to like how to pour it into drinks, I suppose, or the viscosity, whatever. Something that lets them know like you can eliminate the competition if you really want to. So they would be given the chance to do that. There is a DC set. I don't think I said that in here. Maybe I did. No, I didn't. I gotta update that. But with a DC of 19 for a sleight of hand check, they can potentially try and poison another competitor. But since the other competitors probably know that this is happening, they would be able to try and stop it, or at least detect it. I think that's saved. It should be. Yes, it's in there now.
Oh,
Great.
there it is. Yeah.
Tight.
You
So
know,
if they wanted to try...
You now have it
What's
written
up?
twice, just so you're aware.
Oh, thank you. God damn it. Okay.
You're fine. You were saying, though.
But yeah, so if they want to try and detect if their drink has been poisoned, then they would be able to do a survival check with a DC of 18 to try and test it. Or if they want to go like the kind route, they can let it be known, hey, there's like poison in this party. Someone's trying to do something bad, and either bring that to the attention of the court or like let the servants know, who knows, however they want to go about doing it. If the siblings find out that they're just trying to be cool, then they can grant them a boon, which I know it just says of, and it just stops it because I just added it as a thing. What's up?
Question. Can you pull a Rasputin and drink all of the poison that someone's put into your glass and end up just fine?
I mean, maybe if you're like a monk or something and you're cool like that and you're just immune to poison.
But like, yeah, what if in theory you were and just cool like that? Would that get you points? Is it cool to poison yourself?
That's
What
a
if
good
you've
question.
spent the last 10 years of your life building up an immunity?
As the official
cane
word of
powder?
TPK roleplay, it is not cool to poison yourself. Please don't drink poison.
Yeah, please don't. Please don't.
Unless there's
I
a
can
lot of pretty
add
girls
it.
around. And think about it.
Then
Could be
maybe.
cool.
Could be pretty sweet.
Have we seen a villain or bad guy in this one shot thus far?
I kind of just started to write them in. I added another handout of Lady Anitra Quaville, who is the lady of the court who's presiding over this. I haven't added that into the document on Roll20, but I just started updating that in my document, so I'll get that over there in a second. But she's here to make sure things are going according to plan, but she's trying to like sway the competition one way or the other by having her pick of the crowd instead. So she's trying to like play puppet master behind the scenes.
Is she gonna be like the in the Willy Wonka? There was the bad guy
Slugworth.
trying to get Slugworth. Thank you.
Slugworth.
The Slugworth trying to like, hey, if you marry the princess and get these reforms across, it could be worth your while.
It's this everlasting crown stopper.
Oh, that's very good. I haven't come up with a title yet. That's a pretty solid one.
I hate that you went for Slugworth, and all I could think of was, you lose! You get nothing!
Mm-hmm. Every time.
All right.
So-
Very good.
Sorry, one quick last question. Would you see this as something that could be added into a adventure as something to do, or like as like a maybe even like a grand finale to a payoff to a romance? Or is this like a fun, get everyone together, let's all try and be, like three musketeers, get in there and romance a princess against each other and skip out from each other's feet?
That's a great question. I feel like this is more suited towards like, let's just get everyone together, get your favorite snacks and hang out and just like have a little fun dating sim. I feel like this might be kind of hard to slip into a current campaign that someone has, unless they're like specifically trying to leave the campaign and just marry out of it. But who knows?
It's part of my grand exit. I give you one last one shot. I mean,
Very
hey,
good.
it could work. There's been worse ways that players get ripped out of campaigns.
This
So.
is true. Yes.
All right. We're going to call Tait back in and we'll give you the final twist.
Okay.
And then you will have 20 minutes to finish it out.
Oh God, 20 minutes. Okay.
Plenty of
It's gonna
time.
be
A lot of things can
Plenty of
happen in
time.
20
I am here.
minutes.
All right. You're
Hello.
both here. So just a reminder, we're going to give you that final twist, and then you guys will have 20 minutes to go to the end. I'll give you guys a little bit of a countdown of the 10-minute, 5-minute, 1 minute, and then as we hit the approach. I have missed times before, but I'll do my best to be on point. So, without further ado, our final TPK twist is a door? There's a door. It
There's
causes
a
problems.
door.
Sick.
Causes
You're welcome.
Problems.
I love that there was no
I
introduction.
don't think I should say thank you.
They're like, it is a portal between one room and the next. And
The twist never has an introduction. It's just...
your first one
Door?
did. I guess this is the twist, though. Yeah.
I don't think the twist did. But... All right, with that, you guys have 20 minutes. I'm starting the clock back up, and good luck. Good luck to the finish.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Thanks.
All right. So yes, our final twist is the ever dangerous door. Could be a bane of a lot of parties. I'm very interested to find out how this is used in these two games.
I mean, I feel like for Ash, you could do some kind of like a secret room or something where, you know,
Secret passage doorway.
Yeah, secret passage doorway. Maybe get some one-on-one time, like a Bachelor scenario. Honestly, we could end up just playing an episode of The Bachelor through Ash's one-shot idea. I'm on board for it. Tate's could have some trouble.
I said we did kind of screw Tait there with his whole adventures outside. So
Yeah.
Now, I don't know.
There's
about
a druid, so a druid has to live hypothetically somewhere. So there could be a singular door somewhere. Or maybe it's a latrine. Who knows?
There's a lot of door.
I mean, he's got talking animals. Would it be that hard to just do a quick pivot switch? It's in the Feywild. There is a doorway to the Feywild in the forest.
Valid.
That's an option.
Better yet, maybe those animals have small residencies. If you have a player who wants to go CSI backwoods, they could certainly go out there and try and dig into some squirrel home, crack the lock on a door, and
there it is a king of beasts. Presumably, maybe there is a castle of the beasts that could have a doorway.
Yeah, get a little morticianary exam on that king. Find out exactly what happened. But you have to get into the cage they're keeping him in, as like a sign of respect before they can release him into the greater wilds.
Oh yeah, actually that makes a lot of sense.
I don't know. It's the benefit of being a judge. I could have these ideas now and not worry about actually write it into a game.
How do you actually make it work? I'm a judge.
They're putting it in a cage. Where'd the cage come from? You're asking too many questions. Yeah. If Tate can work this out, I'll give him a lot of credit for that. Points might be a poor choice of words. I'll give him a lot of credit for that because just the way that he'll have to maneuver and kind of figure out how it'll be interesting to see. I think Ash has the clear road for how this twist is gonna be something she can quickly incorporate and put out of mind to keep her core concept going strong.
Yeah, I definitely. It's a lot easier to put a doorway inside a castle than it is into the middle of the forest. That's definitely true. That said, we did get a lot of information just from talking from them. Anything in particular kind of cool? It looks like Ash kind of has this villainous kind of setup to be maybe working against the players. We've kind of discussed that behind the backs of what could be happening. It sounds like that is kind of part of the plan, so kind of curious to see how that works out.
I love it. I think it is great. But I also liked how Ash has confirmed essentially that this is not going to be some way for people to like incorporate this into your campaign and figure out where to throw it in. This is let's go and have a real catty episode of The Bachelor or The Bachelorette and just like get at each other and be these dandies and win ourselves some hearts out there today. I think
to be fair, you could very easily switch the poisons to be like just like food poisoning and like still have a little beach episode at the kingdom trying to woo a prince or princess. So I think you could I think she's not giving herself enough credit that I think this could fit into the middle of a campaign if you wanted it to be. Or even if you wanted, say you finish a campaign, you're like, I love these characters still, I still want to play them. Let's get some dates. And it'll work out really lovely.
It could. I think the point being here is that whoever gets the aforementioned prince or princess is going to be in a position of power, which as per the introduction to this campaign, comes to a lot more responsibilities than privileges. So, I think this, as she mentioned, this could be even a fun way to write off a character. Let them go and, hey, I've been writing back and forth with this princess. I finally get a chance to be alone. I'm gonna try and maybe pull this off. You guys want to help me steal a heart? And it's like, yep. Let's go play matchmaker. And,
So, Sir Heckalot in the chat actually mentioned something great. It's doors into other planes. That's something that could work really well for Tait, actually. He already has the Fae in there somewhere, and I think it's basically what you were saying before, Turk. Though Sir Heck also mentions opening a sarcophagus, have a mummy moment, which I can't see as easily, but you know what? It's an option.
I think it could be quite fun. Every campaign deserves to have an awakening ancient evil moment and putting it back to sleep. Okay. It's a wonderful hard line to switch into.
So the line's the classic, King of the Jungle.
Yes.
So a sarcophagus, it opens up, and there is a mummy lion that comes out, and that's how.
So what you're saying is Tait's has just become a Disney film.
It's
a
the
dead
Lion
mom
King
has
meets
to
the
exist,
mummy.
and yeah.
I need Brandon Fraser.
The ultimate circle of life.
The circle of life has been turned into an infinity symbol. Death is only the beginning, Simba. We do not become the grass. We become immortal liches that rule over this land in perpetuity.
What about that shadowy place over there, Father?
That's where we will rule in the afterlife.
That's where we hide our phylactery, because no one goes there.
The elephant graveyard is where we will summon our legion should anyone encroach on our lands.
Now this is a homebrew Lion King campaign I want to see.
See, that's how you get Monster of the Week. Undead lions continuing to resurrect themselves, and you gotta go in Brendan Fraser style, 2 pistols, just get them out of there. Shut down whatever freaky deaky druid shit's going on, and it'll be great.
Chad, if you have any questions you have for any of the contestants or for what you think, what you want to ask the judges, feel free to put it in chat and we'll definitely look at it. We have a great question from Turk earlier about our favorite romanceable PCs. So if you have anything for either contestant or for any of the 3 of us, go for it.
I can tell you one of my favorite romance novels on itch. Well, not romance novels, but choose your own adventure romance novels. They're very good. I can go off on that if you want. It's a whole thing.
I mean, I'm a little scared, so no.
No. Scared. Coward, first off. Secondly, they're all very nice and really wholesome.
I think Chrissy has a question for you, Proper. I don't know if you want to answer that one in the chat. Seems kind of important. I don't know.
I'm sorry, Chrissy. You can't win MCIF because you're already winning it.
I have a potential argument for how you could win. Have a really good time with your friends on screen and just enjoy yourself.
That one's also a good option.
Yes.
Just cool. Do more cool shit, Chrissy. That's all I want to see is cool shit. And I mean, you're already going to be taking down a king at some point, Chrissy. So you're right in the mood of this particular episode. How would you win MCIF, Purple?
How would I win?
Yeah, how would you win? Because you've been keeping up with every episode, right? I'm sure.
Some for sure. I don't know. That's a tough question.
You know what the better question is how can I be a better GM, Chrissy? Because that's what this show is all about. The best of the best. I want to be the very best, like no GM ever was.
You have all players in potentially a perfect political position to overthrow the current governing party of the city. And in doing so, you can establish a new system of governance that cracks down hard on any cult-like activity that they can personally prioritize investigating. taking control of the police that will naturally kowtow to any authoritarian force, being truly an occupying army of the dominant socioeconomic political group. So what you really need to do is just get your players to leverage all of their background trauma that they might be trying to, like, oh no, I don't want to be a member of my extremely politically and economically influential family. They just got a 180 on that. It's like tough it out for a year or two, fast forward till they can like poison their grandmas or grandpas and parents and such. So they get control, a la like a Bruce Wayne, except self-inflicted Bruce Wayne. And then bada bing, bada boom, you're in control of the city, even through a shadow empire sort of vibe. And then you take down the cult with your enormous amount of resources. Just, don't end up dressing yourself in a rubber suit and trying to work through your trauma by inflicting it onto other people.
Hey, Turk.
Make sure your neck can turn.
Just how much flu medication have you had today?
Oh,
I'm
no,
a little
that's
concerned.
No. This is purely how do you win? Because when you break down how to win a TTRPG, you have to throw your morals out the window. It's be Batman, but be better than Batman. Because the way to be the best Batman is to use the enormous wealth of Wayne Enterprises to push social programs so that you never have a Joker or a Riddler. Because obviously they're just individuals in need of extreme psychiatric help, not a severe concussion and body bruising by some billionaire in rubber spandex. Batman is bad for his villains.
Speaking of rubber spandex, let's see what our players have done with a
That's
draw.
our pivot out of this conversation, baby.
It's a very, you know what? I'm sorry, Turk, but we might have to take that crown because you've lost Best Segue award.
Oh my goodness, no.
You've had it for a long time.
Oh,
See, what's more upsetting is what I should have done is, speaking of rubber spandex, let's see how these players have fit in our secret ingredients.
That works well. It does. Yeah, I was just checking it out. It does look. Tait has found a way to get his door in there. It looks like curing the former king can be found in a small tower, I think, or ruin. It sounds like, not quite sure. But there's a doorway carved in that you can get in, and there will be a ritual that you can kind of do, it looks like, to heal that poison that could cure the king. So it looks like he's got something there, as well as I think it looks like he's added a Fey weapon. So yeah, he did seem to add something Fey with a rose thorn. The rose's thorn, it looks like it's a whip of some sort. Pretty interesting. Did you have something you were looking at proper yet?
I haven't seen anything else on Ash's side yet, but I could have missed it.
It looks like so she added in a teamwork scene and a little bit more to the dance party. So what I had noticed, so I think that might be where the door comes in, is getting trapped in the hallway and a fire broke out.
Wait, the ballroom's locked?
Yeah, that's part of it too, yeah. Work together, get the door open to get into the ballroom for the final dance. So, yeah, it looks like she's kind of worked that in as well.
I like that there is a fire that almost kills the royal siblings. They're like, now that the fire's out, let's still have a party.
Let's dance.
I think you underestimate how important parties are to the upper classes.
Hey, call 911, because Shorty started a fire on the dance floor.
Solid. Absolutely golden. Oh my goodness. Midas touched that joke. My gosh. All right.
Rolled and smoked.
No, because, what more perfect way to encapsulate the privilege of those in power than say, yes, our lives are threatened. But damn it, we invited like 30 people out here, and that took like 3 days for them to travel across the country because our empire is so vast. We're not going to stop having a party just because you almost died. You know how expensive this
You gotta celebrate life while you have it, right? We didn't die, so time to dance, right?
Yeah, you just gotta dance. Just dance.
Gonna be okay?
Sway, or just sway, and sway all your fears away.
Did we
All right.
change the zoom effect to more butterflies?
Oh, of course, I was told to take off the crown, so here I am making up for it with other monarchs.
I like how you had both prepared in case you couldn't wear the crown and needed the...
Well, that's my secret, Purple. A lot of these are already preloaded on your Zoom. Anyone could do this. I just have big enough cojones to actually be out here doing it.
All right, well, we are at 5 minutes at this point, so we're kind of in the home stretch. Time to finish these things out, wrap them up, put the finishing touches on, dot your T's, cross your I's, and kind of see where they're going here. It does look like Tait's got a lot more different things going on. He hasn't added as much to the plot, but it looks like he's added a lot of his character art and kind of some descriptions on there, which looks pretty interesting. I'm kind of interested to see him kind of go through and explain most of those out to us, as well as some of these items he added with the guilty rose, I think is maybe what he's called it now. It's the weapon that might help, and a crystal decanter, which is going to be what's going to heal the poison possibly.
That'd be fun. Restore the old king. God, it's a wonderfully classic storytelling moment. The old king returning, and it's even better it's a lion because you can get all the Pride Rock memes out of your players. And it's yeah.
I like it. I do like that option.
Nothing like having a player bring another character to the edge of a cliff and shouting Lion King reference before throwing them off.
I imagine this happened to you.
Well, it actually did. Oath sworn. I had them dangling over a mine, and
actually, I do remember that.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like I've seen this. I have.
Oh yeah. I have to thank Tony for that brilliant bit of work there. It's just really good stuff. But anytime your players can naturally latch on to a little fun aspect of it, I think it can bring some good levity to your table, and players are laughing about something for a few moments, get a little distracted with some in-jokes. I think that perfectly adds to the ambiance of the session.
Hell yeah. So looking over at Ashes, looks like she added a little bit more here. It looks like the reward from the hedge maze now might be finding the secret doors that will let you get into the ballroom easier when the ballroom doors are locked. So looks like that's kind of a good play-in of the doors and adding it in as a reward from your first hedge maze event.
I do gotta say that I think that the poison aspect is a little bit like subdued. It's like a part of the plot, but it's not an important part. But I like that she's added the doors into like a main central part of the plot later on. So
they're both incorporated into the challenges, I feel.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm being picky about Tait's, but I think it's still going to be a work. It's going to make a lot more sense once he's explained it, because I can't sit here switching scenes and also read at the same time.
I'm trying to do the best I can and go through stuff for you, but
that's why you just let Turk just talk for about 20 minutes. And
that's how we get to this voice.
We're just explaining our formula of how we do the show. Turk talks, I look through stuff. Proper runs the show. This is what we do.
I write down shit and just dip out of the scene for a hot second. Yeah.
The balance is eternal and shall never be broken.
All
Praise be the triangle.
I do have a lot more notes this time around than I've had in previous sessions because I'm trying to be organized, and so I have thoughts, I have opinions, I have judgments.
It's important to have those as a judge, I find.
Sometimes.
All right. We did just hit the 1 minute mark, so we're on that countdown.
Oh, boy.
It's getting close. So, I think players are definitely just gonna try and finish up whatever they're currently working on here, and wrap it up. Provide a name if they haven't. It's definitely a good thing to think here. copy over work, because I think Ash is working in her OneNote. So
Absolute
hopefully
focus
she
on
gets everything moved over.
both their faces. I just like
Just intense
intention.
there.
I love how they're both facing opposite directions as well. It works very nicely for me right now. It's a framing. Of the two.
This framing on the overlay is top of the line.
Right,
Mhm.
15
Oh, yeah.
seconds.
15 seconds. Oh, I see eyes going to screen.
Bar.
Got a smile on the face. Just the last second work coming in. Come on, type those things out. Type them out. Type out. Type out.
4, 3, 2, 1. I'll stop the timer so you don't have to actually hear it.
All right.
All right. Welcome back. How do you feel?
Ah!
It was much
just
harder
it.
to find images for stuff than I thought it would. I ended up just doing pictures of animals for several of these characters,
You have
and
some
nothing for the items.
I will mention this again, but you got some bull snoots.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, you guys just finished an hour of hard work, so we're going to take a quick break, let you guys relax, get yourselves ready, and then we'll come back and have you guys both explain your one-shots to us and share all the little details so everyone can see. All right. Thank you, chat. We'll see you guys in about 10 minutes or so. Bye.
And
Welcome back to Iron GM here.
Hello.
We just wrapped up our 1 hour of our contestants making their one-shots, and now we're ready to see what they've made. The three judges here will be judging and writing down what we see and scoring and notating. And chat, keep in mind as you're listening to this of what one-shot that these two GMs have made for us you would want to play in, because at the end of both of them describing it through, you will get to vote, and your vote will matter on the winner. So if you can, pay attention and maybe pick the one you like the most, because it can make a big difference. With that, we're going to start with Ash. So Ash, if you want to walk us through what you've made and explain it to everyone, you have the floor.
Okay, hey everybody, welcome to the Crowns game. This is intended for players at level 3, 4 to 5 players. You can entice your players. This is specifically probably just for a one-shot. It might be silly to insert it into a campaign. I don't know how you do it, but that's for you to figure out. They're enticed as they are essentially contestants, trying to win the hand of one of two eligible royals for the kingdom. I didn't name the kingdom, but the poor King Dwinnell Oria has sadly passed away, and they need someone to take his place. So they have the remaining Princess Elenil Oria and Prince Radarin Oria, who need someone to marry. Isn't that how it goes? And your players will be competing for the hand of one of these royals. In their court, it is fair game. Either of them are eligible to become king and or queen, depending on whichever one they want to be. So it's not like you have to pick whoever you want. Yeah, that's how it is. Anyway, so they have a series of tasks that they must complete in order to deem themselves worthy enough to be the right-hand person for one of these royals.
Seeking for their hand in marriage.
Yes.
Question mark?
Marriage.
Yes. Marriage.
Marriage is what we're doing today.
There's also someone overseeing everything that's happening here. Lady Anitra Quaville is a lady of the court who has been placed kind of at the top and is overseeing everything for the prince and the princess until they are married and become king or queen. Though she has her own nefarious reasons for why she's here. Yes. So there are multiple tasks for them to complete. The first scene, they're gathered at the castle to begin their trial, and their first thing that they're led to do is, oh, hey, the king's prized striped sheep has gone missing in the hedge maze. You have to go get it. Go do it. So there is a maze for them to encounter. I tried to add some stuff to the map, and I think that's what lost me some time because all of the tokens that I wanted just didn't show up, and that was dumb. But they have to go find this sheep that's in this hedge maze and successfully bring it to the other side. If they happen to do so, then they are given a bit of secret information from their chosen royal that they have a chance to talk with and get to know. There's also some secrets in this maze. There's something belonging to either the prince or the princess hidden within the maze, and if someone finds it, then they're also granted time with that specific royal. If they find a box containing the Ring of Generosity, that would then lead them to the princess, who can then talk to them, get to know them a little bit better, and they would be granted some information for what's to come. Same thing with the pocket tree that they might find. That belongs to the prince. He's a bit of a gardener like his dad was. They would learn that the prince is desperately afraid of fire and has learned the cantrip shape water in order to put out any flame he sees because he's desperately afraid. Yes, fun things.
I like those item names, by the way. Those are very good.
Thanks. These are all items that I've like stored, just finding them off the internet and like paying on Patreon to just hold them indefinitely. So this is like my first time actually using these things. They're very cool. I have both of the items as their own handouts so that whoever actually wins that will then have a unique description about how it works. So then they would also get to keep that as well. Lady Quaville is overseeing everything, so if she sees anyone doing anything that's like cheating, she's gonna favor them and try and grant them the same information that whoever would win fairly would be able to get as well. So it's kind of you can play to either side here, and some people are gonna get information. If you kind of just play neutral, you're obviously not gonna win the ball game. So play to either side.
Cheating.
All's
Yeah.
fair in love and war.
Absolutely, yes. So after the hedge maze, everyone's tired and hungry, so they're instructed to go freshen up for the dinner party. They're also instructed to be on the lookout for unique boons for every single one of them. Each person has been granted something specific to them as a character that's going to help them at this dinner party, but little do they know, they're all given these little glasses of vials of poison and told, do what you will with them. So they can try and poison one another to eliminate the competition if they really want to. There are successful checks that they would have to make in order to be able to do that. If they want to turn it in and say, hey, this is whack, what's up with this? Then they would be granted like, hey, thanks for not being an asshole and killing people just to like win my hand in marriage. So either way they go about it, if they successfully poison someone, Lady Quaville will reward them. If they turn in the poison and say, no thank you, then they will be rewarded as well. So there's, again, kind of like the duality of that.
What would you do if they poisoned the prince or princess?
I didn't write this in, but I think that's a great question, and I want to say that it's very much like I've been inoculated about this. Yeah, something like
asexually romantic.
Yeah, this is
I built it a
also
lifetime.
fun.
And about to be a problem.
I spent a lifetime
less.
building up an immunity to Iocane pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows?
That's 2 references for 2. Can we get a
I love
third,
it.
please?
Absolutely. We'll make sure it happens. But yeah, so either way, they'll be granted information for things to come in the future, as is how it's been going so far. So in the hedge maze, they were granted information about the dinner party. Here at the dinner party, they're going to be granted information about tricky doors in the castle and how to unlock them. They'll be granted information of there's like a certain pattern on the door. It's basically like match the pose on pressure plates in like a fun dance form. Think like Twister.
Is it like that Japanese show where they have the shapes move towards you and you have to like
Hole in the
my
wall.
God.
or pushes you
Hole
off?
in the wall.
I love this so much, man.
Yeah.
If I would have thought of that, I feel like
I mean,
dang
to be
it,
fair,
I don't even know,
that
man.
does kind of negate the whole point of a door, so...
I was thinking more like the dragon
Depends on
dance
how
from
hard
Avatar: The
poses.
Last Airbender, where they're like, "Oh, here's the room with all the different statues. Like, do this cool like final fusion thing, and then
Yeah.
summon a dragon." But this opens a door.
Yeah. I'll-
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys got it. You got it. Crushed it.
We're all a bunch of fucking nerds.
Quick, Ash, put your 2 fingers up.
We're
on the top
doing
here.
a take
Yeah.
on Iron
There
Chef
we go.
as GMs. Of course, we're nerds.
This is a roleplay channel. God damn it!
This is at least 3 layers deep in reference already. Let's be real.
Absolutely. Let's see here. So that's the dinner party, which would then lead to them being exhausted after a long day's worth of events. They're told to just go rest. And then suddenly in the middle of the night, everyone's alerted to commotion out in a hallway. There's a fire that's broken out in the royal wing. There are backup plans for the royals to be able to escape, as contingency plans has failed. And the party is tasked with saving them. I kind of left this up to interpretation, like it's just a big fucking fire. Figure out how to save them. However, there will be like fountains on the complete opposite end of this hallway, and I'm picturing this as like a really, really long hallway. I'm only giving them like 6 rounds to figure this out, which is a fair amount of time to do it. But there will be fountains way at the end. So if they want to, like the prince, use shape water to try and just put some water on those fiery flames, then they can. But this is open to creativity. The thing with this is they all have to work together in order to solve this. It's not an individual thing. So if it's seen that one person like kind of comes out on top, then they don't really get anything. It's just, hey, you saved the prince and princess, congrats. But if they are seen to be working together, then great. They're all awarded these small keys. They're all in like different sizes and materials, but not told what they belong to, and then are sent back to bed.
Royal chest belts.
Who knows? I'm immediately picturing Robin Hood Men in Tights.
The magical equivalent with the Gia spell. It's deep and dark, but you could do it.
Incredible. God damn it, that's great.
Wow.
I think you've killed Turk. He is broken.
It's fine. He doesn't need to talk because he's already too sick to talk.
It's all right.
Amazing. The last part of this is our dance party. So everyone is instructed
Excellent.
to get ready for the ball. The whole like front part of the next day, like the whole front half of it, they're all just getting ready. So allow your players a chance to like describe their ballroom attire and get all fancy and pretty. And then once they get to the ballroom, the door is locked. How do they open it? Hey guys, everyone's been told secrets on how to unlock it. I totally forgot to mention this, but there's part of the secret to open the door is humming a royal tune that has to be hummed into like a horn on the wall or something.
Isn't that also an Avatar Last Bender reference?
Yeah, everything's an Avatar reference in this house.
The last bender.
I totally forgot to mention that. But whoever actually like gets the sheep through the maze gets that information. So they all have to work together in order to open this door. It's gonna contain the needing to hum the tune into the horn, do the little fusion dance thing, and then if they all got their keys, then they would all have individual slots to open the door with. there are as many keys and as many keyholes as there are players, so that can be adjusted. If they didn't get the keys, then they have to get creative on how to open the door with that part. If they know knock or something, great. If they don't, figure it out.
Everyone in the party is rogues. It's fine.
Yes, fantastic.
I mean, they're out here stealing hearts. They might as well
It's
be.
a dating game. Why would they not be?
They're all rogues or bards, probably. That's how it's gonna be.
That would be extremely good, honestly. And then it's just a fun dance off after that, just a fun chance for them to blow some steam, and then just have a fun performance check for like a sweet dance with their chosen royal. Lady Anitra will announce who is the winner, which is based on whoever has the overall most wins or involvement in the games. But just as they're like uniting them with their chosen royal, they'll like fly into a fit of rampage and claim ownership of the crown, and it turns out she's a hag, and then you have to fight the hag who wants to take over the kingdom. So that's what she's been doing it all along. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You get to kill a hag, you get to make some friends with some royal people, and perhaps save the day, or maybe not. It's up to you.
Does anyone have any questions? I got a couple I can start with. So you've already kind of mentioned you've already answered part of my one question, but I wonder if you have any more. So where did you grab your inspiration for this from? You've already mentioned Avatar: The Last Airbender for a couple. Out of curiosity, was there any others that you were kind of grabbing from for this idea, or just kind of hit you, or?
I would have to ponder on that to figure out exactly where the inspiration came from, because like any idea in this world, nothing is like super unique. You're kind of pulling from everything, but
I'm just like cognizant, like, I could do something like, I don't know, I know we mentioned it several times of, it's The Bachelor. I'm just curious if that was your thought of like, I could do a Bachelor game, or if there's like a specific dating game you had in mind that you had the idea from. I guess you also mentioned earlier, at least in our, I think one of our early conversations, Two Crowns being your inspiration for the Monarch. So was there anything else like that you kind of came up with?
not really. I kind of just jumped off of the idea of, hey, there's like two people that hold the crown here, and whoa, what if they're two different people, but they're in the same royal family, and whoa, wouldn't it be cool if you could choose whichever one you wanted, or whatever, and kind of just go from there? And then I just blacked out and wrote all that, so.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Started writing it, had a mental breakdown, bon appetit.
Huzzah!
I guess my other new favorite question that I like to ask is, if you had been given all the ingredients at the beginning, do you think you'd make the same one shot, or you think you would have went like a completely different path?
That's a great question. I feel like I would have gone a completely different path. Let's see. If I had everything up front with Monarch's poison and door, oh god, yeah. Probably some like weird vault thing. That's as much as I can.
I want to answer this question.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you want to answer it right now?
No, I'm waiting for you.
We'll get
My
to
turn.
him after we know what his is. I'll ask it for both people. So,
Okay.
Turk or Proper, do you guys have any questions to kick off?
Speaking
Well-
of popular questions I like to ask, it feels like you kind of set this up for D&D, but could you see this playing well in other games?
I think so. I will be totally honest and admit that I don't know many other systems other than like ones that I've played over here on TPK, typically on like Top Shelf, that I don't know if any of those would work for it. And I've also played like Monster of the Week, so I don't know if that would work for this, but to me it just read like fantasy setting. So anything that can be within a fantasy setting and work within that, sure, just go for it.
Oh yeah, no, I could just work for a bunch of systems. Not to answer your question for you, but like,
No, you're good.
I could see this working for a bunch of stuff. Even if you want to do a rules light, roll a d20. If it's above half, go for it. You could use a Lancer style like triggers system where like you're good at 4 things off the bat, and if you do, you have a +2 to those rolls. Beyond that, you're just trying to roll above 10 on a d20.
You're just trying to get more people to play Lancer now, aren't you?
Everyone should play Lancer.
Lancer's so fun, though.
Lancer's really fun. Thank you.
I'm trying to think of the games that I've seen you in. Other than my game, all I can think of right now is just like other D&D games, and then the Honey Heist. Which, if you want to play this Honey Heist,
okay.
Imagine
so
this is
ready for
Honey
this.
Heist,
But
though.
could there be Honey Heist?
But
This game
could
was a
it
vast
be Honey Heist?
portion.
Anyway,
I
The
love
prize for the dance-off is a whole bunch of honey. That's how you roll that.
it. Yes.
And along
Yeah,
the
they're
all
way,
in costume.
accidentally
your
romance
very
a
own
princess.
honey. But I'm.
Oh shit.
I mean, that is how I got the Queen Bee from my latest version of Money Heist. No, I literally, dropped the beat and seduced Beyonce. Anyway,
That sounds like a grisly affair.
it was, but I was a sun bear, so it was, I was shining. my
Almost
whole
To be fair, it
unbearable.
sounds a lot closer to Be
I
Gay
was-
Do Crimes, but I think Turk has a question.
So, in the vein of beat crimes, thirsty sword lesbians, all this stuff, combat wise, it feels like you're kind of giving them a good out with the exterior NPC. Now, I know this might not be in your notes, and of course, this obviously is going to count, but I really do just love extrapolating on the ideas you brought in, because I think it's a fantastic system. And like I said, I'm a big sucker for romance arcs and romance games in particular. What if there was a scenario? So, is this a scenario where people are competing for the same affection of a person, and how are you going to handle that kind of? How would you handle, ideally, that player versus player interaction, even if it's a soft PvP in this case, with people trying to compete? Obviously, the assumption you stated is, hey, let's all come in and have fun trying to seduce each other out of seduce the princess out from under each other, or prince or princess out from under each other. But what if it got to a point where someone needed to cross blades and thought that would win them points? Do you have how would you facilitate that as a DM or any kind of person running the game, depending on the system?
I feel like I built in, at least with the BBEG of it, of Lady Quaville, who's just yeah, I'm here for violence. Let's fucking go. That rules. Who would do anything in her power to try and reward people who are acting more nefarious towards one another. So if they find the other person in the hedge maze and tie them up so they're stuck there forever, hey, that rules. Congrats. You want more information on how to win this thing, to try and make them feel like they have an edge up in the competition, when in reality she just wants that goddamn crown.
Out of curiosity, do you think the only suitors that are really there are just the players, or are there NPC suitors that they're also competing against?
That's a great question. That is an idea that I had at the very start and then just completely forgot about.
Left your brain.
But
Yep,
yeah, I think it would be fun to round it out with a good even number of I don't know, 8 or 10 total competitors, including the players. So it's not just them, because they would be some of them might be less inclined to want to screw over their friends. They might be a little bit more motivated if it's just a random NPC that they can drown in a fountain or something. So
Sure. The tie someone up I was that's a great idea. I would love to, if that idea hit my brain, I would love to do that. I would hate to do that to another player. Was the thought that I was having.
Oh,
So I was
no.
I wonder how it would work. So
Oh, no. We will cross swords, and I will win the affection of this fair maiden.
Or ropes in this case.
oh,
I guess.
man, why do I
Yeah.
have to lose? It's scripted.
Wait a second. So I'm supposed to win this thing.
He gets another shot.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another question that I think I might be stealing from Purple, but that's fine. How complete do you think this game is? Do you think you could hand this off to another GM to play?
Oh God, no. Not right now. No, there's a lot more that I would want to clarify and bring in ideas that you guys have brought up. hey, maybe you have 4 players, good. There's 4 other NPCs competing for this, which is not currently in the notes. Like actually throw tokens on these maps, maybe throw in another map for the combat encounter. There was a lot that I just kind of like forgot about because an hour felt like 24 seconds. So yeah, there's a lot more that I would like to do that I didn't get the chance to.
I will say, I think if you hand this off to an experienced DM, I think they could probably theater of the mind wing it pretty easily at the very least. But
I'm thinking some possibilities.
and I think Turk just wants to run this now. So.
I want to see you romance me, all right? Seduce me.
A point of order: an experienced DM could have a note that just says, "Two royals, hedge mage ? Dancing door."
That's true.
Hag final boss, and probably come up with something approximating this.
That's true.
How did you read my notes for Oathsworn?
I'm primarily an
Wait,
improv DM, so like writing something out to a T with this is how this can go, here's the thing that they can be rewarded with. I don't usually have that kind of stuff prepared for my players. I go off of the vibe of the table. I'll just like have a random list of like tokens and items and potential places that they might go, and then just see how it goes with the session. So,
100%.
This is outside of everything I know.
To maybe expand a little. That's part of this game, is to see how, or the whole Iron GM philosophy, at least for me, is to see how other people kind of prepare and do that kind of stuff. And that's a valid way to prepare and be ready to go. And I think there are people that this is enough notes that you could hand this off and they could understand the idea and they could run it and have fun. So I didn't want you to undersell yourself on that. That's all I was gonna say. Is like there's a lot here, and I think it's pretty well fleshed out in some ways. But yes, obviously more could be done. So, did anyone else have any questions? Tait, do you have any questions you want to ask?
I'm allowed to ask questions.
Yeah, if you want. You're allowed to chime in at any time.
Ask the most.
I was chiming in.
questions.
Yeah. You can ask.
Just how can I hamstring this? All I can imagine is like, I don't know. I'd be really tempted to stab the chaotic lady. I've already lost her name. That's actually a hag. I just imagine like speedrun strats accidentally just start the final boss immediately because it'd be like, you're a messy woman. You a messy bitch.
Yeah,
Start something. I'd be like, can I poison you? I'd try and poison her, honestly.
This
if
does
I knew that she was
require
encouraging chaos
quite a
feelings.
lot of kind players, because I can see a lot of ways that chaos players could just puncture holes into this.
Give me this one shot with Winterholt's finest, and I will show you how it burns to the ground. How everyone in this castle ends up dead.
I'm
I
pretty
guess
sure
the other one is. Oh, sorry.
There's always the option of the player goes when the hag's like, I'm in charge, and I'm like, can I start romancing you?
It's like,
opposite of my energy of like, no, this is what I want. Yeah.
So really what we're saying, Ash, is that you need to have an improv-heavy role-playing style, because there's so many ways this could
Players
go
are chaos.
terribly, terribly wrong.
or terribly,
That's
terribly
knowing-
right.
Yeah.
But
But I
Depends
also
on the
know in D&D,
context.
like the levels that you selected are basically critical. If it gets too high, people are going to start getting weird mind control magic and be like, I don't have to romance the prince. I just have to make him think that I've romanced him with magic, which is dark and
That's
cruel.
not
but
how
also the first
consent
thing I would do.
works.
No, it's not. But if I'm just trying to get a kingdom, and I don't
Yeah.
actually trying to romance someone, that's like a very lawful or
It's all
chaotic
about
evil way to
setting
do it.
expectations at your table.
Yeah. I'm going to talk about that on mine.
Well, if you have no more questions, I'm not sure if you have anything in chat. Let me check. Nope, all we got is hashtag hot grandmas. So
Sick.
I think we're good.
Yep.
And the
Thanks,
consent.
Heck, for
As it
that
should
one.
be.
Thank you. Hashtag, well, to be fair, dungeon bitches do be fucking grandmas.
On that note,
Excellent note.
Yeah, with that, thank you, Ash, for sharing your game with us, and we will move over to Tait. And when we're done, I should have said this before, but get like a 1 or 2 sentence like prep up for your campaign, just to sum it all up, just to remind everyone what's going on. All right, Tait, let's jump in with yours.
All right, so I've kind of titled mine King of the Beasts. The notes, at least the basic plot notes, are not one that I'm going to share because they're a little rambly, and I think I would present them in a different order. But the story effectively starts with this forest. I haven't decided on a specific name. I think that this could be set up as a one-shot in between sessions of a full campaign, if you haven't like fully fleshed out the world building. I said I wasn't going to show the basic plot. There we go. All right. I'm embarrassed by my notes. They are not organized.
You've looked at those notes the entire game, so...
Oh
a bit
no.
late.
All right, well, okay. So you could name it what you want. I'm playing with the idea of the Awakened Forest, if you needed a idea. And the premise would be that you and your party, you're already a party. If you're doing a one-shot, I don't want to have to do a you meeting an inn thing first. It's like, nope, you've been adventuring already. Or you're living in the world. When we get to what system it's in, we can talk about some of that. But
I do apologize if
as
things
you
seem
are
to zip around the screen right now. Firefox is being incredibly rude to me, so if I just zoom the wrong direction, please ignore that.
I'd also close the boxes because I'm gonna decide. I'm gonna like in an order show you the NPCs and stuff.
Oh, okay, you
But anyways,
go for it.
Yeah, well, although you're on the right one to start with, so don't worry about that guy. As you enter this forest, you run into an old druid. I have named him Obricht Havard because it's just a fun sort of ancient-sounding name that I kind of have in my back pocket. And definitely fits in D&D, but even if it's not, I like the idea of bringing the idea of a furbolg, of a like sort of giant fae folk, what they originally are, as this old druid who tries to stop you and says you can't go forward, the forest is dangerous now. The beasts are choosing their king. And because I like player choice, the players basically have two options. If they try and push their way forward, the druid will get increasingly insistent that you can't do that. And the story from there is very simple. As you go down this pathway of the map that I made, you're going to get ambushed, not just by the druid's sort of enchanted plants that make going forward harder and harder, but also the various animal factions that are deciding who the next king of the beasts will be. We can set that aside for now to talk about the poison. One of the druid's tricks is a sort of airborne fungal poison that will turn you into an animal. You can make it random. I didn't make a table because I prefer the idea of pick one that's thematic to your characters. Because that's just kind of funny, whether it's something that fits them or something that is the opposite of them. If you have a very large angry barbarian, they absolutely need to end up as a squirrel or something. That's just what it needs to be. Maybe a particularly small badger. I don't know. The rogue can be, you know, a bear. It's fine. Anyways. If you decide to go with the druid, he has a lot more to explain. This is really up to how much the players dig into it. The only thing he explains up front is this is the Awakened Forest. This is where all awakened animals kind of travel to when they're left alone, if they're not taken care of by the people who awakened them. But also, naturally, all the animals here are awakened. When you dig into it more, he'll reveal that he was a child as part of a druid circle that made a deal with fae sort of creatures to gain a lot of power, and the sort of stone circle, this raised stone structure in the middle of the forest, is where they did it, and that sort of accidentally caused all of the animals to become awakened. And they've had a ruler and a culture for a long time. I do like this, the more you can dig into him, the more you will learn that he's extremely old. He can't really help the animals decide. Like, he's supposed to be the mediator, but he sees them all as his children because he's lived for like 300 years. And so he just can't decide between any of them. And, you know, I want to make him feel like an old grandpa. He's just kind of slow and quiet, and he's got a lot of like hard candy honeyed sweets that he'll hand the players if they want it, or even if they don't.
Gotta love having an old grandpa
Yeah.
character, you know, just to butter up the party. It's good.
Yep. It's not until you get to the stone circle, which I'm imagining is almost like if Stonehenge had a roof. And this like raised platform up there is where these animals are deliberating who's going to be the next king. The twist being is that the old king isn't technically dead. Someone has poisoned him with a poison that has reverted his awakening. And he cannot be spoken to even by like spells like talk with animals. He is just permanently dumb, like in a verbal sense. But also
Like a
he has
feeble
like
mind
regrets.
almost.
Yeah, it's
Like
like a
that.
more permanent feeble mind, but it is a lion. I didn't get a chance to give the king.
The Lion King?
Oh
Eh.
my god.
Look, I kind of had to, but yeah, the old Lion King is. I didn't get an image for him, but he'll have a little backstory, which again the players can or can't, don't have to dig into, where he was awakened outside the forest and was an old circus lion, and when he arrived, he was seen as wise and great, and so he's reverted back to that. He's quite tame and just kind of this sort of like old, gray, like easy to lead around lion. And there are 3 factions of deciding what the forest is going to do next. I have the old bear who leads mostly the wolves. He is scarred and he's kind of large and quiet. He seems sort of tired, but he really believes that, yeah, the way the old king was doing it was correct. There's a law to the forest. It is the strong versus the weak, and we don't really interfere with humans. They are stronger than us, so we don't want to antagonize them. If you dig, he didn't poison anybody. This is going to be basically spoilers for anyone who wanted to play this and make it a mystery, because I'm just going to tell you. But he didn't poison anybody, and he doesn't know who did. But if you are too, I guess, forward and direct with accusing him of that, he's going to challenge you to a duel. And he won't explain the rules, but it'll be explained to you as it starts. The rules are no armor, no weapons, because he doesn't have any. Which, could be a problem for the vast majority of human beings.
Unless they have been poisoned and now have been turned into a bear as well.
True.
Or something.
True, I'd be down with that. The second is the regal jaguar, who's sort of leading all of the ambush predators of the forest. She is sly. She tends to insult people a lot, and she is going to very directly tell you her plan is if she's in charge, they're attacking humans on sight. Like, you're protected now because you're with the druid who is her friend, but if she's in charge, she's going to get you. That they're going to fight back against the humans who have been, deforesting and overhunting. There's no one protecting the forest other than them, and the druid is old and can't do it much anymore. She also didn't poison the king, and she doesn't know who did, but she finds that thought amusing that you would think she would do that. Like, if I needed to kill the king, I would have done it. He was old.
Ruthless.
And the last,
The ruthless jaguar.
yeah, and the last is Lady Chestnut, the sort of queen already of the squirrels.
I love them already.
Yeah, Lady Chestnut is the friendliest of the 3 main NPCs, is considered royalty among the squirrels already, and she's complimentary to the players, thanks them for helping with this decision. She's very sympathetic to their problems, where they've been asked to find out who poisoned the old king. She's trying to be helpful. If asked, she has a small mouse druid that I didn't get to write a whole thing for, but who will sort of explain how the poison works, why it can't be cured, stuff like that. Where one would even find it, which is very helpful. She also didn't poison the king, as much as that would be a great, the one who's helping you. No, it's not that obvious. And doesn't know who did. The last 3 NPCs are the Mouse Druid, the Bobcat Knight, and Father Wolf. Bobcat Knight, this is a very fighty retainer of the Lady Jaguar, and also will challenge you to a duel, but will be more likely to lose, just because they're not remotely as big as the bear. The Mouse Druid, like I said, is just sort of a friendly little mouse guy. He's got a family. He's a little druid. He's been learning under old Firbolg Kadok for a while. And then the Father Wolf, who he arrived from outside the forest and then became awakened here. And when interrogating all of them, it's Father Wolf who poisoned the lion, the King Lion. He believed in what the old lion was doing, but found out that he was going to cave to Lady Jaguar and start attacking humans, and he is deeply afraid of humans. He has seen a lot of what humans can do, or I guess intelligent species. Humanoids, depending on the setting you have. But like, hey, they got cities and war machines and a lot more magic than we do. We cannot antagonize them, and so he felt he had to. And the final twist is, if the players investigate these stone tables and they have a strong enough knowledge of Fey magic or Arcana, they find a door that can only be opened by the Old King. And this is where it diverges a little. If they do this in peace, they will find a decanter that can cure any poison, including this poison, once a day. If they sort of sneak here, like if they're attacked by these various factions as they've been going through the forest, they can overhear or interrogate and find out this table is where all the animals are collecting their forces. And they sneak here and they convince, the doddering King Lion to open it. It is a weapon called the Guilty Rose. Frame it after whatever weapon like one of your players are using. And the idea is that if you're wielding it, the first time you kill one of these awakened animals, moderately high wisdom save, and if you fail, you now join the side of the animals. And if anyone asks you why, you will give philosophical reasons why. You realize that you are wrong and that you can't tell them why you are doing this. You can't tell them you're compelled. It's definitely is going to require players who are willing to not metagame. But yeah, once you've decided on one of the three sides, depending on how you interact with them, this is kind of up to DM interpretation. Either you only have one faction behind you and two against you, or two behind you and one against you. Usually it's the squirrels that will kind of go either way, depending on how nice you were to them. But if you choose the squirrels, then it just depends on which of the other two you were nice to.
Or you bested in a duel, I guess.
Oh yeah, but that player might just be dead. Like, I'm going to be real. This is going to be a dire bear with barbarian levels. That's going to be the idea. These are awakened animals with player levels. It's going to... I would not recommend doing that without your weapons and armor. This is a bear that's good at punching things, and it doesn't take a lot of damage, so good luck. I'm also especially imagining someone charisma heavy being the one who accuses the bear directly. And I'm not telling you how to build your characters, but if you're charisma heavy, you're probably not the barbarian, and you might be the fighter. But you're probably not really good at punching stuff.
I'm a squishy boy with lots of charisma.
Yeah, you're probably either the rogue or the bard or the sorcerer, maybe the warlock. None of those are great at fighting things without weapons. That was kind of the bit I did on purpose. But yeah, and when you were done, you either escape with your lives after being attacked by 3 waves of animals and then eventually a druid, who I would recommend making very big and strong and give him some legendary lair actions because he's in his forest, basically summoning more animals, getting trees to swipe at you if you're too close to them, stuff like that. Or you create an ally or enemies in the forest. Oh, I do have a battle map that I see that you're on. It is kind of a rough sketch because I was working with simple shapes. But that's, I think, the length and breadth of it. We do have a lot of thoughts on you need players who are either willing to do social stuff or you're going to punish some murder hobos with 3 to 4 waves of not great, not easy to fight animals. Mage squirrels, stealth leopards, and then barbarian fighter wolves.
I want to play this. Can I play this?
Uber druid.
Can I play it right now? I want to play this right now.
But yeah, I think that's about it. That's about as much lore as I came up with for it.
Cool. All right, we'll start with the questions then. I'm just gonna chime in with my 2 ones because I like to hit the same ones. So I'm just gonna start with where'd you grab your inspiration for this? Because it was really cool, but talking animals, fighting, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. There's a little Narnia in it, so do love me some Narnia. A lot of this is just my thoughts on the world building implied by the magic of specifically D&D. I'm pulling a lot from my home campaign I'm running right now, where my players are basically walking through a very Fey forest. It's not quite the Feywild, on a quest, and just what are the things you might run into. And the idea of Fey animals are just animals that are a little smarter than they should be, or the fact that awakening is a spell that's kind of expensive, but you make a person. That's the thing it does. So there's going to be some of them just walking around with nowhere to go. In my home game originally, there is a tavern for awakened animals of hey, this is where you come and build your life for the first time. But I kind of like this idea better now that I've made it. Of like, no, it's a kingdom of awakened animals.
Is it a build a bear workshop? Is that essentially?
God,
No, I was thinking. No, I was thinking more like a Doctor Dolittle type situation.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Except if Doctor Dolittle was a cat wizard, is the inn I was thinking of.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Thanks, cat wizard specifically, because that's just a good image.
All
Anyways.
right, and then I'll hit you with the other question that you said you wanted to get anyways. But
Mhm.
if we had given you all the ingredients straight up at the front, do you think you would have made a different game? And what do you think you would have made?
Well, it's hard to say in that moment of like panic of like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? But the first thing that comes to mind if I have all of those is instead of making this that's kind of system agnostic, leaning towards D&D, I definitely would have made some Fey shenanigans in Monster of the Week. It would have started with a door. It would have started with like, hey, there's a door in the forest that's just there in midair that people have walked into and haven't come out, and the Monarch would be like a Fey king whose kingdom has slowly crumbled. The poison would be he's being poisoned. It is a little mad, and like definitely is gonna do some weird mind things to you when you enter, but it's your job to do it. Is the first thing that comes to mind.
Okay, I
Those three
do
combined
also
at the
want to
beginning.
be in that one shot, please. Thank you.
Yes. I have Faye on the brain, you might realize.
Shall I ask you've kind of answered my other question, which was, can
What
you
other
see
systems
this?
could you
What
play
other
this?
systems could you play this in?
Yeah, you could do this in Monster of the Week. I just had to change like the stats. It's no longer saves. It's more like various magic rolls and like hard and soft moves and stuff like that. I mean, I could definitely do this in like my own system to plug myself a little that I've made with the Tri system that we run on Violet Sea. I don't really design that for one shots, so it would be a little like doing a lot of work. To give
Well,
people,
here's
like,
the other
custom moves and
question I was
abilities.
going to ask you: Is
Mhm.
this a one shot?
This is for sure. I'm actually worried it's not enough, depending on how they run through it.
Oh,
This is
I was thinking because
one
you have
conversation.
so many little like social narrative bits that depending on how long your session is, this could be 2 or 3 sessions, depending on how
It could maybe be two.
thoroughly
if
you want to
players
flush out
really
the world.
engage. Yeah, it could be 2 if players really engage with these little narratives. But I really feel like that I'd be worried that someone would like just make their decision without talking to everyone. Be like, I don't care about the king's poison. We're picking a new king. This one. Like that's it.
And
then
I
it's
made
just-
extra NPCs.
Then
but-
it's just a giant rattle royale.
I could definitely see someone
Mhm.
just going, Bear seems nice. I like the bear. He's the king now.
Yeah,
Let's do
like,
it.
or if they decide to just walk through and fight them, that's just a long combat one shot. Because they're all gathered in one place. There's one battleground, and this is what's going to happen. It's not that. I'd be worried about not having enough content.
You get a couple
2 at
of them-
most.
You get a couple of them that get poisoned. They get turned into animals. Just like, we're gonna be the king now.
Oh, that actually is a great response. I didn't think of.
So here's the third question then.
I wanted to say, actually, real quick,
Take your time.
the other system I would love to try this in, just for kicks and giggles, is, I kid you not, Cyberpunk has a Elf Lines Online expansion where it's a video game. And the idea of the players accidentally stumbling upon, in a video game, in a tabletop game, this quest line is also just like, gives me certain happy brain chemicals.
The levels of
I also
meta.
need that. Inject it directly into my veins, please.
It is Cyberpunk,
It's a thing that
so
I need
you
to put
probably
in my
could.
Cyberpunk game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't get to use that VR thing in my Cyberpunk game, so I just kind of like the idea of using it at some point for no reason.
The other question I was going to have is the same one I asked Ash. How done do you think this one shot is? Could you pass this off to someone else?
I think yes, I would want to take another pass just to like reorganize the notes for them because it's not exactly in the order I'd want it to be. But I think the door needs to be different or separate. Like I don't have locations written down. I have all the notes about them. I just need to separate them into their own things. And I don't have like tokens or stat blocks, but I mean the narrative parts, the world building, the map, I could hand that off. I just hope that they're pretty good at making animal stat blocks of player levels.
I guess
That would be the most complicated part.
I'd say with that, do you have a level in mind? Is there a reason you need to actually get? Could it just be the animal stat blocks and just throw them in there and have lower level or something like that?
For
Or
world
did you
building
have something in
reasons?
mind? Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, for world building reasons, I'd want them to have some player levels, just because even for like a party of 4 level 3s, it'd be hard to stat these animals out as something that's a real challenge. But I mean, if you did player 1, like level 1 players, and make that a dire bear without barbarian levels, I think that could work, I guess.
So, I've been quiet for vocal reasons as well as others. I have a question. How would you, if the situation came down to combat, do you have an idea in your head how each group would fight differently? You mentioned that the squirrels are magical, but like, if you could elaborate that for me.
Yeah, the idea would be that these 3 factions also kind of represent how I build characters. I think I mentioned that the sort of predators, the jaguar stealth predators, are all going to be very rogue-y, ranger-y. They attack, they hide, they attack again. The reason I made the squirrels magical is simply because they're not a threat otherwise. And it's just like, yeah, they're just big, they're just druid sorcerer types. That's about what they do. And would be very long-range magic combats.
You've never gone to a fight with a bunch of squirrels in IRL, then?
I have not, because I'm usually friend of the animals and do not antagonize them.
Sometimes the squirrels are friends.
You want to talk about Turkey? Okay.
I'm okay. The squirrels aren't, but I'm okay.
Why do
my enemies are
like
squirrels? He ate a squirrel. It was very fuzzy on the way down. Anyways, yeah, and then the bears and wolves are very just straight up. I'm coming to attack you. Probably give them fighter barbarian levels. You can do a monk level or 2, I guess, in the wolves. Fun building fact: wild shape and monk abilities stack. You can do monk stuff when you're in wild shape as a druid. It's a fun, weird mechanical thing. It's hilarious.
That's dope.
It's good shit.
Ash, do you have any questions?
Just does everyone want to play this as soon as we end the session?
Of course.
When are you running this? Is there
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
when are you
that's
running
the
this?
question.
Absolutely.
That's been the question every episode, so you're good.
Well, maybe if we between the campaigns I'm running, that once they're over and I do a one shot
if you're not
I
too
feel that.
busy, I mean, oh hey, there's only one more episode of Core Hearts left, and we won't drag you into a second season just yet. So
I might drag me into a second season. Anyways, you guys don't get to see what that is yet.
That is a mood.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
See, might have a second season. It only has 2 episodes left. It's the whole thing. Anyways.
All right. So with all of that, if you could, Ash and then Tait, can you give us a quick elevator pitch? 30 seconds ish recap of what yours is about, so that the chat can be refreshed for those just tuning in, and kind of give the chat a little bit of idea so that they can vote in the poll that will be coming up on which one shot they're more interested in playing in, or that they think is cooler. They can decide on how they vote, but it's a vote of one or the other. So, and it'll be added up into our results of who's going to win, along with our judging. So, Ash, if you can give us yours, and then we'll have Tait do his.
Sure. Let's see here. A royal kingdom is in need of their next king or queen. Royal siblings are looking for their future partner and have set up a dating game of unusual tasks to help make their choice. Will one of your players be one of the next rulers of the kingdom, or will they be tempted by intrigue and cause chaos on the dating scene?
Pretty good.
Very good.
All right. Tait, if you want to give us your elevator pitch.
As our players adventure, they suddenly find themselves in the midst of political intrigue, but not with the royal family, not with wizards, but with the beasts of the forest. Whether through fight or flight, they will find themselves in a contest for the king of the beasts.
Very good, very good. All right, with that, we're going to take about a 10-minute break for us judges to do our deliberation and get our scores written down. And in that time, chat, you guys have a poll already up, and you guys can vote and decide on which of these one-shots you think deserves to move forward as the Iron GM. So with that, we'll take a quick break and we'll see you back here in about 10 minutes.
Yeah.